Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. It was a great day. The gyrations in the market were seemed very obvious when they were starting and when they were happening and how deep they would go. And the recoveries stayed within parameters for what I felt was still yet to come. And then we got that final little down swoop this afternoon. And that's when the market reached its low at 18,378. And then it started to rally, but then it really took another turn. So let me just kind of put this on the 15 minutes so you can see it. It kind of got a little bit confusing because here we were, and this was like all sideways, all sideways, all sideways. And I was like, okay, you guys are going to come down one more time and likely go to like 360. And it stopped just under, so 18,400. And the buyers walked in and it was like, okay, we're all done. We've covered what we need to. We've monetized what we need to, and they just started to buy it. And the market then went up over 100 off of that low and well over 100 off of this low. And that always, to me, I find to be amazing when you actually witness what they're doing. So most of today, I will say, no, actually all of the day, the Russell and the Dow were very strong. The S&P got pulled in several directions because you get these down swoops in the NASDAQ, and the S&P kind of would follow up, particularly the first thing this morning, you know. And after we had let me just see exactly when this was all taken, pretty much from the opening, I would say. Yeah, we ran up and made a high at 18,572, and then they just started to sell, and they sold it all the way down to the low. And then it just gyrated around for the balance of the day until the end of the day. So really, in the last 45 minutes, they just started to buy it, and they took it all the way back up. And I would imagine if they had been given a little bit more time, they would have gotten it back above that high. So how do we want to look at this on an Elliott wave basis? Well, I'll tell you. How I want to look at it is that it's a 1, 2, 3, and then we did the 4 today. Finished it up today. WXYXZ. As you can see, it really does form a Z. So the labeling it as such is works for me. Now, I'm gonna one more time this is for the the older Ellioticians that come on and follow me and check out my own work. It truly is an ABC X or an ABC A B C for an A B C X A B C. So it's pretty much a double. You could probably work it out to be a triple, but the use of the W, X, Y, and Z, and in my view, is just another way of counting an ABC, except you've tossed in a couple of your own rules, not you, but whomever came up with this. They've put in some of their own rules as far as what a Z wave has to do or not do, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of interesting, but it fits. I'm leaving it. I will continue to try to adapt to it. And the bottom line is, if I just had to look at this as what it did afterwards, I would kind of almost say, okay, did this come in a failure here? Or what was this? Did it fail here? And this is the start? So, because this does not, to me, look very bullish. Now, if I pull it out and I look on the hourly chart, and again, we're going to open it up, it possibly could be a little bit of of an initiating. Again, we're using diagonals and they're appearing everywhere, right? So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Strange, but could be. Its own little tiny diagonal in there. And then 1, and then a 2, and then a launch. So is it? Otherwise, it's ABC, and it's again 3 waves up. Now we'll see how they start to come in to start Globex. I don't know, but I do know what I can say is I am looking for an additional move higher in the form of a 5th wave. Now, one thing I want to add here for the NASDAQ is, yep, I'm leaving it as here to show that we got, okay, let me pull this open again. Let me go out to this guy and take a look, right? So there's 2, and then we have ABCA, ABCB, 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for 4, 5 to put the C wave in. And first the 5th wave, then the C wave, then the minute 3rd wave. Now, okay, we can leave all of this in place, and I can do 1, 2, then yeah, I know it doesn't, a lot of people aren't going to like it, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. It's ugly, it's ugly, it's ugly, but this is pretty big compared to this. It still can fit, and I'm leaving it, but if it came down to it, I could turn this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move this 3rd down to here, move the C and the 3rd, all of it actually, down to here, completes the 3rd. This would then be a minute 4, still within the triangle, combination of 3s. This would be a 5, 3, 5. And then we're in that minute 5th wave up. Either way, whether I'm going to mark it from here or whether I have to go out and mark it from a higher level. In fact, let me just run the exercise, if you would allow me. That's kind of like an internal alternate. And because I think just in terms of the market, getting all this done, it seems it might be running out of time. So now we're just going to stick this guy all the way over here, and you're going to find that they come up about the same. All right, so let me, so we're running this, and I'm running this. Let me take this one off for just a moment. And now we have this guy. So 618 is 18,934. If I change it around, right? And what we're looking for is minute wave 5. Then it's 19,278. Then it's 19, well, way up there, 8. So if we're still looking for the 3rd and then a 4th, I would say that we're likely going to get pretty much into that same area for the minute 5. So I'm leaving it alone. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you now. So I'm going to remove this again for right now, and I'm going to replace it with what we are using. And so looking again for the completion point for the minute wave 3. Here we have 618. I'm not looking for that. I would be looking for, I'm going to change it, to be honest with you, because it needs to make a new high. And if it doesn't, if it hits 618, it's not making a new high. So I'm going to change that around a little bit. Equality does make a new high. That's 18,753. It's only 250 points from where we closed. And look at the rally, look at what we did today. So that's why I kind of chuckle a little bit. It's like, wow, when they all want to put the pedal to the metal, okay, we were done. All that selling, all that buying, okay, all in preparation likely for tomorrow's quarterly. Thursday instead of Friday expiration. So it's a weekly and it's a quarterly. Should be some fun. Now, but I'm going to leave it as we have been counting it. Look for this minute 3, we get a minute 4, which again should be and could take a while longer for it to unfold. And as I have been discussing, that we have cycles that are kind of now maybe have bottomed on a very short term, giving us that boost up, and then we run into the down cycle or the downside of the cycle. And that would be, right, is what's kind of flashing, imminent correction, imminent correction. And even if we start looking for a 5%, we might come down and then end up back here at the bottom of the boundaries, the trend lines. So if we get up here, 18,900, 700, that's 2. And then if we really get a nice push, 18,984, wow, okay. And then we come back down, that's a 700-point drop. Check it out for the 5%. So a lot of things are the possibilities, but again, just for tomorrow, I'm going to jump out of this 4-hour and bring it back down to the 1 hour. Here's how I'm going to leave it. If I look at my 1 hour, this is either 1, 2, 3, or part of 3, or it's just ABC, and we're going to dump again. Cannot discount that. I can't say no way, no how. First of all, anybody who's been watching and following me for a while understands that I dropped never, can't happen out of my vocabulary when it comes to the NASDAQ or the markets. Stranger things have happened. I know that they built a whole series in Netflix on Stranger Things. None of them have anything to do with our markets, but stranger things have happened. And so I'm not sure exactly how I would look at this, because this is pretty much a Z. Does this turn into another X? And then we do another WXY? I don't know. But in this case, it really would be A, B, C, X, A, B, C, X, A, B, C. And if that's the case, then I truly am going to be more likely to shift this 3 over to here. And I'm going to again show you why. Because to do another one would throw, this is not it's part of the triangle, but only in terms that it's finishing wave C of minute wave 3. But if it comes down, as it already has, barely touching, right, barely overlapping, which I told you I would allow, and the burst up off of it, phew, no, gave the old okay, we're going to allow that. If it comes down again, and more intense, and gets itself down to 18,200, well, no. Then I will declare that to be minute wave 3, minute wave 4, wherever it ends up, because that is allowed, of course, to overlap minute wave 1. So you can see minute wave 1 is just sitting under here. It's actually the high for minute wave 1 is 18,367. So here we are. If we come back down and we get closer to there, it overlaps. Allowable. If we come down and get over here, it not only overlaps, but it breaks it, because this internal count is not a part of the triangle. So it would be A, B, C, oh, look, excuse me, A, B, C, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put the 5 here and I put the 3 here and the C here. It's not clean. It's not the best looking. I know that, but it may not have. It may not give me any other choices. Should the market turn and go flying back down, and put another ABC in? You'll notice it's like, yep, it's not pushing the limitations of what a wave 4 can do. It's pushing the limitations on what degree you want to consider this wave 4. That's what it would be pushing. And so therefore I'd have to rearrange the degrees of what has taken place to put it in and put it together. All right, so right now, leaving it as if they will come back in and continue to buy it and continue to take it higher, and then also follow through overnight and into our opening. And that what really is going to be looking for, again, if we look today, it was Apple's turn to kind of nail it to the wall. Now, how high do they want that for the expiration? So again, quarterly, weekly, expiration, not as small as you want to think it could be. So there's a lot that can happen directionally, depending on where traders, firms, institutions want to put stuff. And not just in these individual underlying, but in all the ETFs. And then in the indexes themselves, the SPX, the NDX, the NQ, the ES. A lot of stuff coming off tomorrow, being released, a lot of gamma, a lot of things going to come to change. And then it's going to set us up for week. And then we get a holiday, right? Friday, the US markets won't be open. And we get the PCE number while we're all taking the day off. So in advance of all that, let's see what happens tomorrow. I am leaving this count the way it is, but I am sharing with you if the alternate's going to come in before I get back on and start making another update. You know, I mean, the market could do something totally strange tomorrow, and I'll get back on and make another update. So I won't leave us hanging over the weekend. I can't guarantee that it's going to. It may come if they do it tomorrow. Then I likely would do it. If they do it on Friday after PCE, then I would include it in the weekend. All right, let's go take a look at the S&P. S&P kind of did the same thing, but I want to tell you, this one's a lot cleaner, a lot cleaner. Also, we're looking for the top of a minute third wave. And so we have minuets. Minuet 1, minuet 2, minuet 3, minuet 4 came in, cleaned, nice Z. Everything good. WXYX. WXYX. Z. Wave 4. So here, this is like A, B, C, X, A, B, C, X, A, B, C. This was a triple. No, I'm trying to, this old dog's trying to learn some new tricks on how to label it. And I'll go with it because it fits. But look at this. Doesn't that look like ABC? And they got back above 5,300. Remember what I talked about? It's like, if this is going to be all done, this thing needs to pick up the old rally and just kind of go and get itself back above 52.85, get itself back above 5,300. And sure enough, didn't it do that? So what do I want to think? It's within minuet wave 5 to finish minute wave 3. What's up first? Like, because this could be 1, 2, 3. And that brings this guy into play. Not that I would be looking, right? So I can add, which I did right here, right? Minuet 1 to minuet 5. Relationship normally is that it's going to come in at 100. That's equality. And that's what it usually sits in the pole position. Number 1, equality. And that would be 53.93. That'd be quite the rally from where we closed. Now, but can the S&P do it? Absolutely, it can do it. We have all, if you've been trading within the last year, we've seen plus 80 days in the S&P. We've seen plus 100 days in the S&P during all these rallies. So yeah, it can do it. But what comes second? Actually, it's in third place. Second's up here. And that would be a really wild ride. But this, right, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it might just be enough to complete the minute third. It comes in, creates the new high. So it does that too. And puts the minute wave 3. Now we get into that minute wave 4, which again could be that imminent correction that the cycles have been kind of flashing yellow caution at us that it's coming. And if we get up to 53.43 or 53.50 and we drop back down towards 5,200, that's a pretty big move, right? And if we're looking at 53, let's just call it 53.50. It would be a 5% would be 267 points, right? So again, if we do 5,345 minus 267 is 50,878. So 5%, if it came down to 52 or 51.67, that's actually pretty much in line with a little bit larger of a corrective phase. Now, I'm not necessarily looking for something that deep. And here's why. Under this count, let me open this up a little bit, go to the 30. With under this count, it's not a triangle. It's just a straight 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, ABC 4, and then we get into that fifth wave. Just saying. So I can't get that overlap going. Not unless I'm willing to really kind of rearrange how I'm going to count this first wave. And if all of this becomes a part of, up to here, all of it becomes a part of minute wave 3, well, then it could. Then it could, as long as we're not going to let wave 4 overlap wave 1, because it's not a triangle in the S&P in my view. So I'll go out one more and we'll take a look. Okay, so we're going to come up from the 4. There's the 4. So I just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it could be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. It could be bizarre. We can get a bunch of 1, 2s. I will look at that. But I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. We get a lot of stuff going on in between, but I do not think it's impossible. If I can say that this up to here is definitively 3, looking for that 4 and a 5 to produce 5 waves from here, what I need to do is produce 5 waves from here, and that doesn't work as cleanly, which is why I did start it from there and went 1 up to this level, 2, and then 3, 4, and a 5. So let's just see what happens. Let's see how the market does. Let's see what the market does coming up here, what the market will do in terms of a wave 4. I don't like to project out and say, well, this, and that, because it's the market that's going to tell me. I can give you some of the projections. So now let's just talk about what we got going on for tomorrow. If that this ends up not being, right, still has not broken that high of 53.22. That would be next up, and that is not all that much from where this is. It is not all that much, and right now, basically unchanged. Going to come in basically unchanged, and the NASDAQ is going to be down slightly. So we'll see if it comes off and let it be a correction, and then starts to rally again. All good for the wave count. Once we get above 53.22, we get a 1, 2, 3, do a little 4, do a 5, or whether it's 1, 2, and we get a 3 up here, do a little 4, and then a 5, we've got our levels. Again, under the current labeling, we're completing a minute third wave up here. So we get a minute wave 4, and here's the zone. Fourth wave of 1 lesser degree. There it is right there staring us in the face. So we get up here, even if we go above it, expectations would be it comes back down into it. And that would be for the minute fourth wave. So I'm looking for this to get up here. So I get that wave 4 bringing us back into here. And then one more minute fifth wave up. And that's the one that actually can get up to here to here. And we'll be able to put additional, once we get additional fourth waves done, we'll put additional fibs that take us up, and it'll start to fill all of these black holes. All right, moving averages right now still are basically sitting pretty good. That the 50 got pretty flat today and then suddenly perked up. Oh, look what they're doing at the end of the day, and decided to poke its nose higher. So that one seems to be okay. As within the NASDAQ, they are all following through and going out. The 200 hourly got an upward angle to it, not a bad upward angle. So it kind of corrected itself from going flat and now turning higher again. We can look for that to continue to provide some support for the upside move, and then we'll get that next corrective phase done. And that's going to be it for today in terms of the analysis. Let's take a peek what we got coming out tomorrow in terms of economic data. Thursday, kind of a busy morning. We have initial jobless claims that can be pushy in both directions. We have the fourth quarter GDP second revision. Both of those are at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. 9:45 Chicago Business Barometer, that's a PMI, a Purchasing Managers Index. 10 a.m. we have pending home sales along with consumer sentiment, and that would be the final for March. So we got a little bit. Those big ones come on Friday while the U.S. markets, the equity markets, are closed. We have advanced U.S. trade balance, advanced retail sales, advanced wholesale inventories, and then PCE, all at 8:30. Everything comes out at 8:30. And then Jerome Powell, he's going to go out there and get on the stump and start talking about it all at 11:30 a.m. somewhere. All right, folks. That's going to be it for today. Now, again, I will be evaluating everything as if I'm going to put something up tomorrow. If everything continues to fall into line and I don't have any major changes and the market doesn't force any major changes, then I would urge caution for Friday. And again, depending on what actually happens within that Globex session, I may put something up and post something on Friday. If not, then I'll do my regular podcast, the Eye of the Storm podcast, and that should be on Saturday. With Sunday being Easter, I might have to push it and do some work on Sunday. I shouldn't, but maybe that'll be the case. All right, have a great trading day tomorrow. Be flexible and be wary because it's going to be kind of crazy, I think. And then enjoy the holiday on Friday.